Uh-oh, a field trip. Look at this, we're gonna take turns driving. They gotta be kidding. It's in New York. Is this a Fort Myers flight? What happened to Continental?
It is Continental. It's Continental New York Air.
Continental New York Air. BYOB on this one. I don't know why I'm doing this. Going to Florida to be with my people, I could have gone to Loman's to achieve the same effect. I am now sitting on a DC-9. Fake row seats. Undoubtedly some fat person will be sitting next to me shortly.
If Fort Myers is not your travel plans today, we ask that you please step forward and exit the aircraft at this time. We'd also like to remind you that it is federal aviation regulation that all your carry-on items must be securely either underneath the seat in front of you or in an overhead bin. If you're having any problems with this, please notify one of the flight attendants. We'd be happy to help. Thank you.
I don't want to alarm anybody, but the captain was drinking a cocktail when I boarded the plane. Didn't look like ginger ale to me. This is going to be fun. Oops, a couple of last-minute planers behind us.
You don't want Yeah, but see, I told him I wanted cheap things to do, so he's probably thinking.
Yeah, he's probably thinking of what he pays you, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Probably what he's thinking.
That'd be kind of fun.
I
should take over the riot.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I think we should at least. Because can we go for an hour or two? You know, it's only like 2 hours in the day. You have the rest of the day to do it. Really?
I like the parasail too, that sounds fun.
Okay, let's plan like, get up early, maybe like 1 in the morning. Well, that's, how do you do that in this case though? Everybody thinks I'm
Enough of them, they're boring anyway. I think they're trying to simulate Fort Myers temperatures in here. My hair is already curling from the humidity. Somebody's eating Doritos. What is this, a pig train, huh? They didn't bring a big enough bag for the whole DC-9. They shouldn't have brought it on at all. That's my attitude.
Flight time will be approximately 2 hours and 30 minutes. My name is Jeannie. I'm your first flight attendant on board, and I am serving you along with our Denver-based flight attendants, Joe, Lynn, and Denise. While we are here to ensure that you do have a comfortable trip with us today, we are also concerned about your safety. With that in mind, we ask that you take a safety information card out of the seat pocket in front of you and follow along as we perform our emergency demonstration. Your seatbelt has been designed for easy fastening and release. To fasten, insert the metal fitting into the buckle, adjust to fit snugly with the loose end of the strap, and simply lift the buckle release to unfasten. Your seatbelt should always be low and tight across your lap. This is a DC-9 series aircraft, and there are 7 emergency exits, each marked with a red exit sign overhead. There are 2 doors forward, 1 on each side, both equipped with evacuation slides. There are 4 window exits over the wings, 2 on each side, and in the rear center of our aircraft is the tail cone exit. It also has is equipped
Oh,
with
look
an
at this. We're backing
evacuation
at the
slide.
same time as another
At this
plane.
time, please locate the 2 exits nearest you. If cabin visibility does become impaired, follow the white lights on
I
the
hate this
flooring,
part.
which will lead you to the red lights, and this will indicate that you've reached an emergency exit. The cabin pressure is controlled for your comfort. However, should it change erratically in flight, oxygen compartments will open automatically in the panel above your seat. If this occurs, all smoking materials must be extinguished immediately. Reach up and pull the mask to your face. This action will start the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over both your mouth and nose and secure the elastic bands as your flight attendants are demonstrated. If you're traveling with small children, put on your mask first and then assist the children. Continue using mask until advised.
I'll see you in a little bit now. We're taking off.
Third to located at this time.
Oops, flotation jackets. Just finished reading the manual.
Use of the seat,
Practicing
use
with
of
the
your
air mask.
flotation device is illustrated in your briefing card. In preparation for takeoff, please ensure that your seat backs and tray tables are in a full upright and still position.
There's only one thing giving me enormous amount of pleasure at this point, and this fact that everybody else in this plane is paid for the flight, unlike myself. So, if we die, at least I died for free. Well, here I am again. I'm on the bus to, back to Manhattan. I might have to discontinue this conversation because I feel a little pukey. I always get pukey on these Olympia Trailway buses. Anyway, I'm back. I don't know where to begin. Let's see. When I first arrived in Florida, Fort Myers to be specifically, Naples, the first thing I did was immediately waddle off to the beach. And that was the first horror I had to confront, was what I looked like in a bathing suit. It was a fright show. Anyway, I go to the beach and I say what I think is a sensible approach. I'll just sit an hour and a half on each side. Who needs any sunscreen? I'm already lizard skinned, no problem. That was a big mistake because about an hour and a half each side. 2 hours later, I was unable to walk or engage in any kind of human contact or contact with any piece of furniture, if you know what I mean, without my skin sizzling. So anyway, that kind of put me out of commission. I was pissed off because I wanted to go to Jungle Larry's the next day and go to one of those you-pick vegetable joints. I could barely walk. The minute I walked inside the house, the minute a ray of sun hit my skin, I was in dire pain. It was a pretty sight. So anyway, my friend Jennifer is working, and she sort of got this limited, time frame within to operate, from which, well, whatever, you know what I'm saying. And she decides, well, let's take me out to see a little local nightlife. Well, that was, I don't know what to tell you. What is Florida all about? What is Florida all about? Gold chains and rubber shoes from Kmart and malls. I got a lot of malls. And this place is loaded with young people. For the most part, they're fairly attractive. Except nobody has ever heard of the word 100% cotton down there, and most of them are incredibly vacuous. They have no brains. I think the sun melts them out or something. I don't know. Anyway, vacation hotspot it is not. So anyway, we boogie on down to this bar called Kisco's, where all the Ritz-Carlton employees hang, and they all know each other. It's this incestuous, sort of gathering that goes on, I guess, nightly. And they've got this little drunk mobile that drives all these people around and stops from plastic bar to plastic bar, so you don't have all these people loose on the road in their Camaros driving and threatening each other's lives. Well, at about this point, I'm starting to get the hankering to stop living a clean life and start engaging in some serious overeating, drinking, drug abuse, and cigarette smoking, which I decided to do the following day, which was Saturday, on our way over to Sanibel Island. Due to inclement weather conditions, aka pouring fucking rain, we stopped at this little fish hideaway, near the water, and she ate chicken wings. Were so hot they burned through 6 layers of skin on your mouth, and drank sangria. Already the combination for puking was coming down the pike, right? Then we proceeded to have a fight with the owner of the hotel we were going to stay in, because this place made Norman Bates look like Sinesta, you know what I mean? Go back to the Kanalai with the Polynesian motif and decide to give the guy $53 and sleep on the flight couches and call it a night. Well, at this point, we've drank so much, I've smoked so many cigarettes, I'm ready to puke. I can barely get up after a nap to go out for an overpriced dinner. So there we were, two single girls at the Jacaranda. She ordered stuffed grouper, I ordered a fillet. If I had any fucking brains, I wouldn't have wasted $25 on dinner. I would have gone for a cheeseburger for $6, because as soon as I got back to the hotel, I puked my brains out. What a kaleidoscope. Between the sangria and the filet with the béarnaise sauce, it made a lovely, sort of palette of color. So anyway, After that, I said, okay, I've exercised this whole drug thing out of my, system. I've relived the 60s. Time to start living a clean life. We get up the next morning, make a futile attempt to get some sun. The clouds roll in. This is becoming a recurring theme, I might add. Get on it. Decide we're going to leave and go run a sailboat back in Fort Myers, where we have one reserved for 2 o'clock. Get in the car, we split, we drive back, get to the beach. There are like, killer Moby Dick waves out there, and needless to say, the little sailing trip was canceled. Finally, we decided to go to this sort of open deck bar and listen to this sort of funky Florida band called Santa Cruz, which did a rendition of every possible song ever written, fairly well, I might add, and watch young boys with a few hairs on their chest walk around in long underwear. Anyway, it was actually the most relaxing and enjoyable part of my trip. But, oh yeah, there was one footnote I wanted to add. I finally figured out what the scam is. I was a little upset about missing jambalayas, but I got over it because I figured out what the whole story was. They have this one, like, alligator that gets in a whaler and goes from each one of these alleged, African jungle locations. I could just see this guy in his little, driving his little speedboat, smoking a Camel with a little captain's hat on and a pair of Voinets, making $5 stopping in every joint. Anyway, that gave me the biggest yuck of the whole week. I think it was relaxing. I couldn't be too sure. All I know is I actually came back weighing more than I did before, and my back is already peeling. So, come to Florida, sunglass and rubber shoe capital of the world. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye. Hi, good evening. I don't know about you guys. I just got out of therapy. I just finished 3 years of therapy. Basically what therapy is undoing 20 years of good hard work your parents have done to fuck you up. So, what can I say? But this you pay for. My father, I can go right back. My father was the East Coast distributor of guilt. I remember when I was a baby, the man was leaning over my crib going, "Do you really think you need that mobile, Pat? Isn't it a little self-indulgent?" He didn't stop. I remember 4 years old, he had his own special edition of Dick and Jane. See Jane vacuum. See Dick invest in mutual funds. By 3 o'clock, I was shot. By 3 years old, I was shot. I was washed up, negative self-image, no self-esteem. I was fucked up already. My mother, she didn't help. I know, you know those Cher commercials they have on now for Jack LaLanne, Whoa. Not even close. My mother used to watch Jack LaLanne. You remember when he wore those little suits and the dog next? She used to do 5 minutes of jumping jacks, sit down, rip open a Twinkie, stuff that down, and then smoke a cigarette. Terrific role model, huh? Supportive? Hardly. I remember my big event in my life, 4th grade, I get the lead role of Mary Poppins. Fabulous reviews. 5th grade, I get a bit part in The Christmas Carol. Horribly miscast. It was essentially my Heaven's Gate. By 6th grade, I was reduced to doing the transparencies on the overhead projector. I was devastated. Were my parents there to support me? No. So what did I do? I ate M&M's with butter on them. I put 40 pounds on in 3 months. I looked like Shelley Winters in the Poseidon Adventure. Did my parents do anything about it? No. Not until I became an embarrassment. They caught me one day blowing up the chocolate chips cookie bag and putting it back on the shelf. Okay? Then they say, well, we got a problem. We got to do something about it. So what do? They take me to this sort of Betty Ford preteen detox center for fat girls, Very traumatic event for me. I remember we were driving all over Long Island trying to find the one store in the chain that was right for me, So we finally stopped there somewhere in Woodmere, House of Fat Girls. Come on. It just doesn't stop. Okay? It only gets worse. Here I am, dating age, right? Negative self-image. It's evident. I've come to the conclusion I got a better chance of winning lotto than I do of getting married. The last guy I went out with was the missing link. He had not fully evolved. He used to sit there in front of the mirror and say, vain, the guy was handsome, vain, no brain, IQ of a chimp. He used to sit there in front of the mirror. Oh, yo, Pat, baby, come over here, give me a kiss, but don't touch the hair. I say, Marty, why don't we put a brace around your neck, put an extension on it, and attach a vanity mirror to it so we can get out of the house once in a while. Then what is the other alternative, ladies? I think you know what they are. Blind dates. Real bad experience for me. Friend calls me up, tells me, this guy's just like you, you're gonna love him, you're gonna love him, you're gonna love him. run for the fire exit door. I don't know where these people find. This guy looked like an extra from The Wizard of Oz. He was about 3 feet tall. He's wearing like 3D plaid pants. He's going bald. He's got his hair parted from this ear all the way over to the other side of his head, and it's laminated down. You know, it's like there's got to be a better way. I'd be better off dating guys that feed dolphins at SeaWorld. Okay, I admit I should be taking these risks. I admit the messengers in the office are even starting to look good, and there's no kid getting around the fact that, you know, my biological alarm clock has turned into a radio alarm. But damn it, I'm just gonna wait. I know they're gonna have drive-through, you know, sperm banks. 3 years tops. Like, you know, make my own family like a kid. You know, who needs a guy? But yeah, it gets me upset to talk about it. What can I say? It just Come on, Pat. But some people, they handle it differently than I do. I mean, I'm giving up. That doesn't mean you have to give up. For instance, my roommate. Unbelievable. God bless her. I don't know where she gets her energy from. Single Jewish female, 30 years old. The family sent out like an immediate APB and alert. Gotta find Nancy a guy. Her mother has a networking system that spans the entire continental United States. I went over their house for dinner one night. The woman had a map across the kitchen wall with push pins, and under that she had 8x10 glossies, you know. And we were eating dinner, and all of a sudden, I cannot believe my ears. I hear, she's got a whole radio center set up. Here you go. There's been a sighting in Bergen County, available Jewish male, 31 years old, attorney. Got a shuttle bus running down. Thank you and good night. As usual, the discussion about what sexual devices we would be using came up, and I gave one of these, you know, don't worry about it. I got a do not enter, you know, do not enter sign plugged on, you know, a little right about now, you know, plugged onto the outside of my diaphragm, and these guys are probably like making their way up there now, frantically screaming, "Stop pushing! What's this? A do not enter sign? Alternate route detour under construction? I don't get it. I heard you was easy access." Anyway, needless to say, we were gonna order rubbers from room service, but we didn't think it'd go over too big. You know what I mean? I gotta sign off. It's getting a little low. The train's getting a little rocky. I'll be in touch with you on our next trip. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I gotta get oil and figure out how to turn the fucking brakes off before I blind every car in front of me. Hi, it's Sunday, and I'm here to tell you that my travelogues have really been serving their purpose, ultimately, which is to do 5 minutes of stand-up in a local club. Now, I'm going to be putting my makeup on as I rehearse this, and it's actually very nerve-wracking, but all accords seem to be pointing in that direction. So to start, I think what I'm going to start with is the dating material, and maybe starting somewhere like this. I mean, any woman that's single in New York is probably really familiar with dating, or should I say the lack of it. I mean, for instance, just recently I broke up with somebody. Just recently I broke up with somebody. And this guy, I mean, what words could describe him? He was obsessed with himself. He, you know, every little puff on his hair had to be in place. You know, he carried around, you know, 2 mirrors, one in the front and the other one so he could see his hair on the back. This isn't funny. I gotta start over again. Excuse me. Well, I'm sure every one of you are familiar with the problems of dating in New York. I've had my own share of tragedies. As a matter of fact, most recently I just broke up with somebody. His nickname was Pizza Man. His intelligence, limited. The man was obsessed with himself, obsessed primarily with his appearance. He used to say, you know, when are we going out? I had to pull him away from the mirror. You know, it was like breaking up this sort of self-worship hour, you know, and I felt guilty about that. And then, you know, there would be, I couldn't bring him out around my friends, you know. I mean, he was like, you know, I felt like I was going out with the guy that mows the lawn in a mansion or something. It was like, I was too embarrassed by him, and you know, I was sort of ashamed about him. But he was smart enough to kind of sense that I was trying to hide him in a closet, you know. So anyway, this was going on, you know, sort of putting up with this sort of self-aggrandizement for months, and then finally I say, you know, I'm getting sick of this turkey. I gotta blow him off. This can't be this bad, you know. And I find out through a quote-unquote friend that this man has been sleeping with more Welcome to New York, the place where women date anything but men. For instance, I just recently broke up with one of these specials. Hey, Pat, you want to go out? How about you and me go out for a slice of pizza? Yep, and that's how he sort of got the nickname Pizza Man. Things were going fine with Pizza Man and I. We sort of had an agreement. Granted, his lack of intelligence did present a little bit of a problem when I used to bring him out. So I avoided taking him out altogether and just kept him for those private and special moments. And I don't think I have to elaborate on that. You know what they are. Anyway, I think the final blow came when a mutual friend, a good friend, I love that word, good friends, the people that give you crap, that, relay information to you that makes you want to stick needles in your eyes, comes up to me and says, I had to let you know, and since you're not seeing Pizza Man anymore, this guy, he was very social. And I said, could you be a little bit more explicit about that? Now, according to my knowledge of Pizza Man, he spent a lot of time alone at home in the mirror, puffing the front of his hair, puffing the back of the hair, making sure every little, position of his little curlettes were in perfect order, and maybe doing a little exercising in the mirror with his spaghetti-strapped t-shirts on. But as far as I knew, this was the extent of his social activity, besides working out at the gym. Well, anyway, this quote-unquote good friend tells me, look, Patty's been, basically, Pizza Man has been out having sex with more women than there are extras in the cast of the Ten Commandments. Well, needless to say, I was a little upset about this, and he diligently tried to pursue me after I broke up with him, but now, armed with this information, I just saw no particular reason to bother talking to this man anymore. As a matter of fact, I think I called him a variety of names like scum, Neanderthal man, and I think I finally ended the relationship in all sincerity with I believe I said to him, I'd rather go out with Ted Bundy than have a slice of pizza ever again with you. But anyway, it's a tough road. And then our other alternative is blind dates. I'm sure all you women are familiar with this. I mean, for instance, so my boss said to me, she says, I don't know much about him, but he's interested in film. So there I go. I run over downtown to this restaurant, to remain nameless in Soho. Walk in. He says, I'll be waiting for you in the lobby. I said, fine. Walk in. And I see sitting in the lobby a man that looks to be about 60 years old. And he walks up to me and says, "Oh, you must be Pat. It's certainly a pleasure to meet you. I understand you're interested in film. Barbara told me so much about you." Okay, meanwhile, I gotta spend 2.5 hours with this guy while he's chain smoking and drinking cheap red wine. This is not my definition of a good time and a potential future husband. Then I think last but not least, in terms of the other species left that and it's become very famous in New York, according to my sort of little random sampling, is the Mr. No Commitment. I'm sure you're familiar with that. He is, as a matter of fact, they sell a single in Sam Goody called I Don't Want No Commitment, I Don't Want to Make Babies, I Just Want to Make Love, things like that on the flip side. So anyway, I seem to get myself in an on and off again situation with one of these clowns, which brought me to no good end. I mean, this man was incapable of making, he couldn't make a commitment to not have a commitment. I mean, he's nuts. So I finally said, that's it. I'm like, listen, buddy, you don't understand. You don't seem to get the big picture here. My biological alarm clock has turned into a radio alarm clock, so you are now out of the picture. So I think there is a rare breed when you finally do get an opportunity to date a decent man, then you screw it up because you've been through this, you've been down this long and weary road through these men that have just worn you out and totally warped your sense of humor. So there you go out on a date with somebody that he seems normal. I mean, you're looking for the flaw, you're looking for the fault, you can't figure it out. He's got to be married, or he's got to be gay, or, closet homosexual, you can't figure it out. And then, so by the second date, you're out of control. Immediately, you want a definition, you want to define the relationship, where's it going, what's going to happen. You sit there at the dinner table, you're quietly drinking, you're sipping your cocktails and your margaritas, and then all of a sudden you whip out an easel with a long-range projection chart saying, 2 weeks from now I should be meeting your parents and significant others. 3 weeks after that, we should be moving in together. 4 weeks after that, we should be purchasing furniture together. 5 weeks after that, we should have potential plans for a wedding. And you know, next thing you know, the guy's flying for the exit door 90 miles an hour. Do you blame him? So I don't know if you can get over that. If you can, you know, if you can get through the Neanderthal man and the Jerry Lewis, and then Mr. No Commitment, when you do finally get somebody normal, you gotta admit there are reasons to be skeptical. I mean, I hardly hold myself solely responsible for that type of reaction. Anyway, and if you do, let's say you do get to that point and you actually start dating somebody that is remotely normal, you have to deal with the whole birth control issue, and I don't want to elaborate as to why, but you know, the AIDS thing is, you know, it's out of control. But, you know, I mean, people have forgotten about the pregnancy issue. It's still a very viable thing. I mean, people are still scared to death of getting pregnant. You got to be careful. You know, especially at my age, I get pregnant and the chances are I'm going to have a baby. So I sort of, you know, have this clever approach. I've tried to use sort of psychological warfare on sperm, you know. On the outside of my diaphragm, I have painted a do not enter sign, alternate route detour. You know, you never know. It could work. Thanks very much. I'll be seeing you. Anybody knows about dating in this town knows it's not. You don't have too many choices, and I'd say you could pretty well put them into two categories. You got the Neanderthal man, which consists of what is the I got a piece of pizza, you know? I mean, look, honey, just watch when you hold me that you don't move the puffs in my hair. You know, and I go like, maybe I could get you 2 mirrors and we could attach one to your neck so you could always see the back of your hair and make sure that it's in place. You know, that's version A, Neanderthal man, and then version B, Mr. No Commitment. And I think what they do, I think they sell a tape at Sam Goody's. It's sort of a brainwashing tape, and I think it's a small cult, a small band of men running around saying, I will not make a commitment, I will not get married, I will not make babies, I will, you know, this is the type of guy that you're shopping in Kmart when you start with this kind. Then you got version 3, which is the normal kind of guy. But the problem is, you know, when you're lucky enough to fall upon him, you're so overwrought from meeting all these psycho cases that you react very badly in his presence. You forget any kind of normalcy, as it were. Now, see, you go out on your first date and it's very nice, and you sip margaritas and you exchange pleasantries, and then by your second date, you've got to have a long-range projection chart, mapping out the course of your relationship up through your grandchildren. You know, in 2 weeks I should be meeting best friends, in 4 weeks I should be meeting significant others such as your parents. In 3 months we should be living in a cooperative arrangement. In 4 months our engagement should be planned. You know, I mean, any normal guy that's known you for approximately 48 hours is going to tend to be a little intimidated by this. So I think, you know, taking all into consideration, I think my roommate's mother may have the best plan of action now. My roommate is a Jewish single woman. She's 31 years old. And by all rights, that is time to send the family SWAT team in to do something about the situation. It is cause for major alarm. Now, this woman has set up a network over the tri-state area. I'm talking about a huge map, you know, just like the headquarters in Dr. No, and, you know, radio contact to, you know, the entire tri-state area. You know, I got a single Jewish male in Bergen County, 30 years old, available for drinks and dinner Friday night, May 30th. You know, I mean, what, bust her over there, we don't care. What the hell, you don't care how you do it. All the specs are looking right, his bio passes. You know, this woman hustles. I mean, this woman networks. She goes out looking for men like you go shopping for cars. So, you know, I said to myself, well, I'm not very comfortable with this arrangement, but, you know, it seems to be fairly effective. It definitely takes care of all the demographics, and it sort of eliminates all this trial and error stuff. I mean, she's definitely staying away from, you know, staying away from the Kmart version, staying away from the Australopithecus, at least centering in on something that seems to fill some of the requirements. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. going back to the three, I'm going to expand see, we had Neanderthal Man, we had Kmart Man, and we had, I think we have Company. Okay, we have Neanderthal Man, we have Kmart Man, and we have Jerry Lewis now. And, what was the last one? Oh yeah, the normal guy, last but not least. And Neanderthal Man is like, hey Pat, what you doing? You want to go out for a piece of pizza? Honey, well, which spaghetti t-shirt should I wear? The white one or the gray one? And well, Pat, watch where you put your hands. You're gonna, I got the puffs all in the perfect position now. So I'm like, why didn't I just attach two mirrors, one to the back of your neck, and you can hold the other one in your hand, so you can always make sure each little puff is in the right place. So much for that idea. You can't bring this guy out in the daylight. The second one is what I call a Kmart version. This guy's like, you know, every excuse in the book not to make a commitment. You know, you're too assertive, you're 5 pounds overweight, you have a potential defective gene, you know, anything in the world, you know. And meanwhile, your biological clock is turning into a radio alarm. So it's next. Then you get what I like to refer to as Jerry Lewis, frequently found on blind dates, you know. There you walk in an unsuspecting slob into the restaurant, dressed. You actually worried about what you were going to dress in before you went on this date. Walk in, and there he is, a sight to behold. Hi. I'm so glad you could join me this evening. It's a pleasure. I understand you're interested in film. And last but not least, we have the normal male, which by the time you get through these three clowns, you just about, you know, your idea of normal, you wouldn't know it if it hit you with a 10-foot pole. So you go out to dinner, your first drink, you're sipping.
Let's hear it.
You know, then things are rolling along. You go out on your second date. All of a sudden, you whip out an easel and a long-range projection chart, you know, that scales you through the present time into meeting significant others and parents, into first deposit on a co-op, into profit-sharing plans and pension, you know, in 1990. So any normal guy is going to be intimidated by this. So where does that leave us? It leaves us that we're going to pick up that home networking section that we discussed before. Hi, I'm here tonight to talk to you about dating. I think I finally got it down to 3 basic categories. We got your Neanderthal Man, we got Jerry Lewis, you got your Neanderthal Man, you got Jerry Lewis, and then you got your normal guy. The last category being the rarest bird. Anyway, I mean, like the first guy I went out with, you know, we take him out. He'd say, hey Pat, you want to go out and have slice of pizza or something, you know? Come here, darling. I asked me, what spaghetti t-shirt you think I should wear? The gray one or the white one? Hey, watch where you put your hands. I just finished puffing my hair. I got every little puff in a perfect place. And I'm like, maybe I should attach a mirror to your neck, and I'll give you a little hand mirror so you can walk around and be constantly checking the height of your hair to see, you know, it's got the perfect balance. So much for him. Next, then you get to the point where you're trying blind dates. And what usually happens is you end up with something sort of like a variation on Jerry Lewis, you know, this kind of a thing. Hi, it's very nice to meet you. I'm glad you could join me this evening. Oh, so it mix between Peter Lorre and Jerry Lewis, and you're like, waiter, could you get my date a phone book so he can reach a table? I mean, this is not my idea of a good time. And then, so, you know, I'm telling myself, what am I doing wrong? Where do I find this guy? He's like, shopping at Kmart for boyfriends, Pat. You gotta get moving along here. Your biological clock is turning into a radio alarm. So what do we end up with? You get a normal guy, and you're so warped from being with all this parade of losers that you get a normal guy. You go out with him the first time, you have a couple drinks, blah blah, woof woof, everything's fine. Second time you go out, you whip out like a marketing chart, a growth plan, you know, projections, 89, 90, 95 to the year 2000, you know, babies, co-ops, it's out of hand. And then so where does that leave you? What do you do? You know, it was a little bit of a quandary here. The single woman in New York. I think my roommate's got an idea, frankly. Her mother, she's Jewish, and you know, I don't think it's any secret if you're 31 and you're Jewish, it's a qualified time to send a film swat team. And anyway, her mother really, her mother's got basically covers the tri-state area, but most of the eastern seaboard, whatever. She's working her way around, just getting to the west, branching out to opening up an LA office or something. But she's got through word of mouth via friends and shopping networks and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles. This woman she's got a network larger than in the Peace Corps. And what is her job? She's recruiting eligible men for her daughter. I got a single male, 31 years old, Bergen County, available for dinner. And yes, we will provide a shuttle bus up there for any prospective candidates. I mean, come on. So I don't know. My hands are tied. This has got to be a better way. Hi, I'm here tonight to talk to you about dating in New York. Now, I know you're probably all, have had your own experiences, but I'm coming to the conclusion that you can basically put them into 3 categories. The first category, I call Neanderthal man. Neanderthal man is basically, I dated him. He's the kind of guy that comes up to you and says, "Hey, Pat, how about going out for a slice of pizza? What do you think? Should I wear my gray spaghetti, spaghetti straps, or wear my white spaghetti straps? I don't know. I'm in a sort of a quandary. Yeah, come over here, baby. Give me a kiss. Yeah, what? Look, Pat, watch where you put your hands. I spent hours in that mirror getting those puffs right in shape, So now I'm the guy spends so much time in front of the mirror. I'm trying to figure out a way so we can get out of the apartment to go eat dinner, to go out on this actual date. So I finally come up with this brilliant suggestion. I said, why don't we just attach a mirror to the back of your head and then one to the front of your head, so you can just shift them around and see your hair at all different angles. Like being in an apartment store in the mirror. So enough of that. And then you have your basic, your blind date, which I consider, if some friend tells you, well, he's interested in film, he's very intelligent, he's divorced, he's got 2 kids, it builds up to be this dream boat. You walk out of the restaurant, and they're sitting and waiting for you, inevitably, near the bar, some, 6-foot munchkin, look something like this. I call him the Jerry Lewis, Peter Lorre sort of gene pool mixed together. Hey, it's very nice to meet you. Barbara told me so much about you. I think maybe we'll sit down and we'll have the fish tonight. Waiter, could you get us a table and a phone book for my date? Anyway, those cover 2 basic type of guys, and then there are the normal guys. But the normal guys are like, you go out on one date. You can't believe he's normal. He's got to be hiding something. He's got to be married. He's got to be gay. He's got to be something going on. If he is in fact normal, you get on the date, and you have this overwhelming desire to bring out like a long-range projection chart, like a marketing plan. Babies, co-op, or first condoms, babies, co-ops. Mutual trust funds, retirement plans, pension. It's just before you know it, just scared the guy out the exit door. Anyway, so where does that leave you? Well, I guess people come to variety of creative solutions, like my roommate's mother. This woman's got my roommate's Jewish, and I don't think it's any secret that if you're 30 years old or over, it's time to call out the family SWAT team to cover this disaster, and this whole non-marriage thing, and it's like, recording all the stuff you had before? No. Oh, good, because I like the other stuff. Maybe I'll turn the slide over. Shaking. Hold on, I got some new stuff. Okay. Yeah. So I gotta use cards. Jesus. All right. Okay. So I'm not a brain surgeon. Let's look at this stuff now. All right. Now, Gino's not an easy act to follow. Thanks for putting the mic this high, Vinny. Close. All right. Why don't you make a trail for yourself?
You're not needed to follow either. That's why I went first.
Oh my God, my hands are sticking to the microphone. Hold on. I keep
That's
it.
Fall on your hand.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus. No.
Oh,
Now tighten it up.
I know it's late. Thanks for sticking around. I came here to talk to you about something. I'm very depressed. I finally accepted the fact then I'm not getting married. I think it's a combination of this town and me. You know, I mean, I just broke up with this guy, and I'm sure you ladies are familiar with this type, the guy who hasn't fully evolved yet. You know what I mean? He was, I mean, in addition to having a, IQ of a chimp, he was vain. He used to sit, I remember he used to sit there for hours in the mirror and sit, puffs, we'd get a puff. Pat, come over here, baby, give me a kiss. But don't touch your hair. I said, look, Marty, I got a great idea. Why don't we put a neck brace on with an extension on it and attach a vanity mirror so we can get out of the house once in a while. All right, Then we had to go on a ski trip up to Vermont. I was like, what am I going to talk to him for? About 7 hours. We got nothing in common. Me and Ted testosterone. 7 hours. So I said, I got to brainstorm. I'm going to learn a foreign language. So I brought tapes with me all the way up to Vermont. I was fluent in Italian by the time I got to Manchester. So my father said, look, Pat, you're shopping at Kmart for guys. You've lowered your standards, And I started to admit after a while I wasn't seeing anybody. The messengers and my mom started to look good, And a friend of mine said, look, Pat, I got this guy I want you to meet. I'm going blind date shit. You know what? My biological clock is turning into a radio alarm, so we got to start taking some risks. You know what I mean? So a guy says, meet me in the restaurant. I said, fine, I'll be there. I'll be at the bar. I walk in, nobody's at the bar. I look in the restaurant. I see this waitress putting this guy in a phone book. I said, no, this can't be my date. The guy's a fucking munchkin. Okay, he's got 3D pants on. He's going bald. He's got his hair parted from his ear over to here. It's laminated down. He looks like he feeds dolphins at SeaWorld or something. I'm like, no, that's it. Forget it. I don't want to do this. I'll go to the sperm bank, drive through in a couple of years. No problem, okay? So I resigned myself. I don't want to know, but my roommate, I got to tell you, she's tenacious. I got to respect for her. She's Jewish. She's 31. The family's in a panic. They've sent a SWAT team out. Her mother's got an APB out for a single Jewish male, attorney, doctor, you know what I mean? The woman's got a network that spans the continental United States. You go over to the house in the kitchen, she's got a map with push pins in it. She's got a pile of 8x10 glasses under it, She's like, we gotta work on this. We gotta finance a man. Unbelievable. I was over there for dinner one night. She's got a radio center set up. You get this woman coming over. Well, you got a single Jewish male, so I didn't care with Bergen County. Send a shuttle bus down. That's right, available for an 8 p.m. date Saturday night. That's it.
What?
Just remember.
Great show, everybody was there. And the next day, we had the pump with the information.
You're just thinking, and I realized.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, my friend.
Anyway, how you doing tonight?
Good!
Oh, sorry. I'd like to share something a little personal with you. I just got out of therapy. I'm pretty sure you all know what that is. Therapy is when you spend a lot of money and a lot of time to undo all your parents' handiwork to fuck you up. Okay? So, basically, it all started when I was real tiny. My father was sort of like an exclusive East Coast distributor of guilt, I mean, I remember as I was real little, he was hanging over my crib saying to me, Pat, you really think you have home meals? It's so indulgent. I mean, it just fucking didn't stop. Well, I remember he had his own special edition of Dick and Jane books. See Jane vacuum, see Dick. That's two mutual moments. I mean, the guy already I saw a big picture. No self-esteem by 4 years old. I was like shocked. My mother, horrible role model. The woman was like 40 pounds overweight. She would get up in the morning, watch Jacqueline. 3 minutes of sit-ups, slug down the yellow and smoke for long. Not setting a good example for me, And furthermore, neither one of them was supportive. I get my first lead well in 4th grade, Mary Poppins. I get fabulous reviews. 5th grade, I get a bit part for Christmas Carol. Sort of like the Heaven's Gate was really bad news. In 6th grade, I was reduced to doing transparency on the overhead projector. I was traumatized. This was one day. I started overeating. How's that better?
Yeah.
I started overeating. I started putting M&M's with butter on it. It was like disgusting. I was a 12-year-old shilling weekly side adventure. My parents like, I don't want to deal with this. She's 40 pounds overweight. One day they catch me blowing up the chocolate chip cookies bag and sticking it back on the shelf. They said, it's time for help, So they sort of took me to this Betty Ford sort of detox center for fat girls, they drove me all over Long Island. It was a real traumatic day. I'll never forget it. We went to the place that had a neon sign over the top that said, House of Fat
mean, the last guy I went out with, he's like some PC link, you know, and he's like a main chick. Big we never went out, he's in here, you know, look at his hair, fix my hair, pass it on here, give me a kiss, but don't touch my hair. I got a great idea. Why don't you put his brace around your neck with an extension on it and have your fat in your ear so you can get out for dinner once in a while. Now, look, so and here I am, the dating abyss, you know, messengers in the office are starting to look good, you know, my biological clock is turning into like a radio alarm, and maybe the ovulation chart of my bitch scaring guys away. I don't know what it is. It's gotta be something, you know? So as far as I'm concerned, 2-3 years, I'm waiting for those dry sperm banks. They're, for sure, you know, I don't need a husband, I'm going to do the whole kick version, you know? That's me, it's my opinion. I don't mean to discourage anybody else, okay? My roommate, for instance, has a different tactic. She's Jewish, she's single, when she turned 29, her mother got her on the phone and said, you got 364 shopping days left to find Nancy a husband, right? Across the entire United States. She sets up a network with the Peace Corps, right, to find this woman a husband, right? I went over her house for dinner one night. She's a map of the United States. Push pins in it, and 8 by 10 constantly selling available Jewish single men, right? I could not believe it all of a sudden. She's got like a radio call. I tell you this is true. Or, we have a sighting, single available Jewish male in Bergen County. We're running the shuttle bus right down, right now for Nancy. Please be ready. Thank you very much. That's
That's wrong person. That was Matt Shakers. Matt Shakers.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, look. A lot of people get on, first of all. So you have to put up with my drawing you.
That's it. Good night, and thank you.